Hello, everyone. I'm sure that most of you would have listened to the final speech of Charlie Chaplin from the movie The Great Dictator. If you haven't, then do listen to it because it is a speech that gave its listeners a ray of hope in the face of overwhelming despair. In his speech, Chaplin has placed emphasis on many themes that are relevant even today. I will be talking about four themes that have been taken from this speech. The first one is greed. Mahatma Gandhi's famous quote stating that there are enough resources to meet human needs but not enough to meet human greed was never more true. Globally, in their quest for money, political leaders have wrecked up the financial system, destroyed the value of money, which is the foundation of a capitalist society, and it has created innumerable conflicts and generated hatred. Some things must change. The Bible says in the first letter of St. Paul to Timothy, chapter 6, verse 10, "The love of money is the root of all kinds of evil." But is greed only about money? No. Greed goes much further than money. A person can be insatiably hungry for money, but also for fame, possessions, attentions, compliments, gifts, another person's time, and much more. Greed is always self-centered and never satisfied. Almost everyone in today's civilization shows traces of greed. The best the average person does is to hide it behind exaggerated generosity, such as giving of alms, which is an attempt to support one's self-esteem at the expense of others. While the COVID-19 pandemic wreaks its havoc on the world's population, working people are on the front lines joining together to save lives and keep the country running. But some greedy corporations are attempting to use a crisis to roll back the rights of the very people who are dying. The neoliberalization in the country has resulted in commodification of society, making the younger generation greedy for money. In today's scenario, the main motivation for today's youth is money rather than personal satisfaction. They are running towards fast into darkness in search of glittering gold. Alas, they have forgotten the phrase that all that glitters is not gold. If you want to escape greed, start by becoming a great giver. The path from greed to giving may not be easy, but it is certainly rewarding. At one end lies a bitter life of slavery, at the other end waits a kind and generous heart. The next theme is scientific progress and happiness. Progress in science and technology can be viewed as one of the most effective means of rendering unconditional service. We need advances in science and technology in order to eradicate pollution, poverty, malnutrition, diseases, ignorance, and other human miseries throughout the world. At the same time, we need to possess human values in order to render this service. While enjoying a high standard of living, the wealthy countries are suffering from a great number of social problems, and the majority of their people are not truly happy. Developing or poor countries have their own social and economic problems. These nations are clamoring to advance in science and technology in order to solve their economic problems. We all are born to be happy. Scientific and technological progress and accomplishments are just means to reach this end and not the goals. Pope Francis said, "Not everything that is technically possible or feasible is therefore ethically acceptable." Science alone is not capable of solving all the problems that humankind is facing today. Science together with ethics can. It is only through the ethical use of scientific knowledge that we will be able to eradicate human and environmental miseries throughout the world. Is it at all possible that someday this vision will come true? Is it possible for humankind to drop all its arrogance and finally realize who we truly are? To live in peace and harmony with one another and with nature? Is it possible that our planet, so badly wounded by the abuses of mankind, can someday be healed and restored to its original purity and beauty? The answers depend on our attitude in life and on how we use our scientific knowledge. they also depend on the method we use to secure happiness. The next topic is importance of democracy. Human rights are universal, indivisible, and interdependent, and we know that. Defenders of human rights and democracy often live in danger because they criticize those in power. They are monitored and subjected to threat, violence, imprisonment, and even murder. A democratic society is not possible without freedom of expression. The population needs a legal system in order to resolve disputes in all forms and guarantee an impartial application of laws and rules. Free and fair elections and several parties to choose between are a given element of a democracy. But non-democratic countries deny their citizens the fundamental freedoms. They deny their citizens due process of law and provide extremely limited opportunities for professional careers. In most non-democratic countries, however, the government made strict controls on the economy, and many people spend their lives working for minimal wages or no benefits. As one of the world's most secretive and repressive societies, North Korea is an example of an authoritarian state. The government imposes harsh restrictions on freedom of information and movement by threatening the people with forced labor and public executions. Therefore, it is a blessing that we live in a democracy, although it may have its problems or demerits. A democratic system of government is important for a modern political system. Through participation of all citizens constructively, we would build an ideal and better democratic government for all to live in. The final theme I'm going to talk about is the most relevant one in the present day scenario, and it is unity. The COVID-19 pandemic is one of the most dangerous challenges this world has faced in our lifetime. It is above all a human crisis with severe health and socio-economic consequences. As stated by the United Nations Secretary General, now is the time for unity, for the international community to work together in solidarity to stop this virus and its shattering consequences. No matter how big or how small, any support you can offer is positive and impactful during these challenging times. Now more than ever, our communities need us to create change in ways that are both innovative and equitable. It is important to realize modern world challenges that we face today are quite different from those our ancestors faced. Today we stand on the shoulders of our descendants who suffered to improve ways of our life. Besides, we still struggle to improve the quality of life of humankind. The Pope himself has called each one of us to remain united and pray for the health workers, soldiers, and the authorities who have been working to safeguard us during this pandemic. Today, we are firmly united. We differ from one another in many ways, but we are ready to fight as a nation against this pandemic. Let violence, hatred test negative, and happiness test positive. I would like to conclude by saying that the speech of Charles Chaplin still maintains relevance today. People are being manipulated by those in power for their personal gains. Things need to change now, and perhaps messages like this one by Chaplin need to be heard once again for that to happen. Thank you.